Hey, it's MK and welcome to Scraptember. Scraptember is where we take scraps from our stash as well as a supply that we may have an abundance of and get it used up during the month of September. And today is all about stickers. Right now, I'm sharing with you guys a couple of the scraps that I'll be using that were left over from last month and a couple of the projects that I did. And this is also a Stampin' Up! Paper that I will be using for my background. In this little pouch right here, I have several sticker sheets as well as a couple other items that I will not be using, but I'm going to go through them anyways just to make sure that I won't want to use them on this layout. But honestly, I really want to try to tackle some of the stickers that are in this layout because they're quite old. So I've got a couple 49 End Market tickets that as much as I want to add them to the layout, I know that I'm not going to be adding them to the layout. This one I almost pulled out, but I know it's a small little kit all about fishing, and we're not actually fishing in these photos that I'll be using today, so I'm not going to even open those. I've got some acetate jars and mushrooms, I believe. Yes, jars, mushrooms, and leaves that I know I won't be using, but I might use that So Peaceful sticker down at the bottom. I also have these film strips, debated on using some of those, and then thought, no, I'm not going to use that either. I've got a couple stickers on this sticker sheet that I would like to use up. The green might be a little off, but we will see. This is a Close to My Heart sticker sheet that is left over from their National Scrapbook Day, one of their kits that they had available, so I might use a couple of those. These ones here are punch out pieces that I don't think I will be using, and once I go through the little loose pieces, I know I'm going to take all the rest and just say, nope, not going to do that because I need to concentrate on stickers. Now, it was very hard for me to find a bunch of stickers. And then I realized that I had a whole bunch of these chipboard stickers. And so I'm actually going to cheat a little bit and use a lot of these chipboard stickers. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started on the layout. I've got this giant panel piece that I would like to just slap on the page, but I'm going to kind of outline my photos, which I've already matted before I went ahead and logged in. And I knew I wanted to use this giant picture frame because I thought about using one of the stickers on my Close to My Heart sticker sheet that said this view. But in all honesty, I'd like to save it for more of a view rather than just staring at what my husband and son are doing. So I'm going to start with just lining up some of my papers. I want to make sure that I have enough to spread across the page. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this one right in half and then make it go across from one side to the other. And then I'm going to cut the plaid piece as well. So I thought about using the plaid piece in another spot. But once I cut it, I realized that I want the window piece not to have a whole bunch of patterns in them. Yes. So I'm going to go ahead. Yeah, this is where I decide, no, I'm not going to use that piece on the other side because I want this window piece to not be all about the patterns. So once I figure out where I'm going to have my pictures placed out on this layout, then I'm going to go ahead and get everything all glued down. Now these pictures here are of us walking down the Mono Lake path, and one of the most interesting things along the path, it's a little, I think it's a little over a mile long, and it takes you all the way out to the lake where you can get a good view of the tufas. And it says in one of their websites that the best time to walk along this path is either sunrise or sunset because the tufas actually gleam and glisten due to the salt residue that they are created from, and they almost look crystallized in the sunset or the sunrise. However, we did not walk it then. We just walked in probably close to noon is when we were walking the path. But the most interesting thing about the path is where you get to see the dates, and when the plaque is put down, it actually tells you, hey, right here is where the lake used to be. And it's kind of interesting, kind of sad, kind of interesting as well, because the lake was diverted to help, well, control water in another area, right? And I don't know the politics behind it. I don't know much about why they started taking water from Mono Lake, why they, any of that stuff. I do know that back in 1994, they realized how important it was that this lake remain where it's at, and the effect that it had, not only environmentally, but a lot of other reasons, based off of ecosystem, right? The ecosystem that is around this lake, and whatnot, and why they realized how important it was to preserve this lake. And so it actually has a monitoring system on it. And if it goes below a specific level, then whichever city is supplied with this water has to return the water in order to maintain that level. And I think it's pretty cool. There's actually a website where you can go and watch the level and see where the level is at, where it's being maintained. And right now it is 7 feet. As of August 1st, it is 7 feet below the level it is supposed to be. They are working on getting it back up. But I love how it is that they are aware of reducing the lake, especially this specific lake, because the salt levels in this lake is massive. And if you go into their visitor center, which I thought was pretty cool, their visitor center has a ton, it's like a museum, right? It's the life of the lake, the life around the lake, the life in the lake. I mean, it's all about the lake and how important this lake is, without anybody actually, understanding it until just a couple years ago, right? And I say a couple years ago, I don't mean like a handful of years ago, but almost, 20 years ago? Yeah, 1994. Does that put us at 20 years? No, that puts us at 30 years. Oh my goodness. So about 30 years ago is when they started realizing, and I don't mean other people weren't aware beforehand, right? But it takes a committee, right? It takes a town, it takes a village to bring awareness and whatnot. And so they have this wonderful museum that, or visitor center. It's not really a museum, but it can be represented as one, where you can walk in and get to understand it and see the salt content. They have little vials of jars that say, here's the salt content of the ocean, the salt content of Salt Lake, and then the salt content of Mono Lake. And it is just amazing, the difference between all the different lakes and whatnot. And you have little bits and pieces of an idea of what lives in the lake and around the lake, and what the lake provides. It provides a nesting ground for flies, and then the flies provide a feeding ground for seagulls, and then the seagulls, of course, I don't know what seagulls do, in all honesty. But then there's also little brine shrimp within this entire lake. I mean, it's a huge ecosystem, and it feeds on itself, and it brings life amongst itself. And then they realized that with the salt, with the levels lowering for this lake, you actually end up with little different things going on, like the levels go down, then it becomes too salty, then the flies don't nest, and then of course with the levels going down, it opens up other predators getting to the seagulls, and so it's just all these different things. So I also have to say that my husband came in to say, hey, I forgot to mention that when his little hand popped in and whatnot. But anyways, that is my layout for today. I jabbered all the way through it about, I love this lake, you guys. I really do. It is gorgeous driving by, even if we don't actually go to the lake and we just drive by it, heading to Bishop or heading to June Lake, any of those places. You drive right by it, and it is absolutely just a sight to be seen. My first time seeing it, I was like, wow, I want to go there. even though you can't swim in it, you can't fish on it, you can't do anything. But it is still just absolutely gorgeous to see. A couple of the other signs going along the path for this lake are about the flora around it, like what types of flowers are there and whatnot, and it's just beautiful. It really, really is. All right, you guys. Again, thank you so much. Don't forget to check out the playlist that I have down below for everyone else that is playing along with Scraptember. And using up all those stickers for today. Don't forget to check that out. Also, too, I've got a couple other links down below that are non-related to Scraptember, but if you guys are interested in checking them out, go right on ahead. Again, thanks for stopping by, and I'll check y'all later. Bye!